Hey, I'm Randy, and I'm the Cheap Audio Man. Here at the Cheap Audio Man, we don't feel like audio equipment, speakers, amps, DACs, turntables, wires, streamers, all that should cost more than 4 or 5 burner phones that you can use when you're on the lam because you haven't paid your gambling debts and you got to get out of town quick, but still communicate with your loved ones. And these don't. Jamo S803 bookshelf speakers. So grab a cup of coffee, sit down, and let's talk about the Jamo, or Jamo as sometimes I like to call them, then be corrected. Jamo S803 bookshelf speaker. Today's sponsor is Louis Vuitton's garbage bags. When you want a premium garbage bag to put your trash in and then go throw away, and you want to spend way more and then feel better and make sure your neighbors know that you're really cool, get some Louis Vuitton garbage bags so that they can see you carry out your garbage in garbage bags for like 3 seconds maybe on trash day. Louis Vuitton. I don't even know how to say it. The expensive purse manufacturer. Okay? Let's talk about the specs of the Jamo S803. First of all, they have really cool heather gray magnetic grills. Okay? Yeah, move my coffee here. Just put it over there. All right? And it's not just like a little bit of a magnetic grill. They actually stay on, which is nice. 3 color options. White with that color of wood accents. Black with, I think, that color of wood accents. And then a walnut with maybe black accents or something. They're really cool. They're like trapezoidy, so they're not just a rectangle. They have like a little non-same color base. Cool Jamo on the side. Yeah. Front ported. I think it's a 5-inch woofer. Yeah, 5-inch polyfiber woofer, 1-inch soft dome tweeter in a really nice waveguide. It's not just pretty; it's there for a reason too. Dun 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 dun. Rated down to 57 hertz up to 26,000 hertz, 87 dB, 8 ohms. I didn't really have a problem driving them off anything, and I drove them off the Onkyo, my Onkyo receiver. I drove them off the SVS Soundbase, which is a monster, and I also drove them off the Topping MX3. All right. Also has keyhole mounts on the back. Yeah, and there's holes on the top that you can mount a Atmos module to, and that Atmos module is connected to wires right above the regular binding post. There's other binding posts for the Atmos module. All right. The finish is pretty good. All right. Here's the thing. This is kind of like a piece of IKEA furniture or something from like a big box store that you put together. It looks good. Put it somewhere and leave it, because if you start moving it around and bumping it into stuff, that finish is going to be affected. All right. But I will say that this finish is pretty much just as good as speakers that are 3 to 4 times the price, because I got a pair of KEF Q350s and I bumped them around a bit, and part of their finish is already coming up. So it's as good as anything else in this category, and probably 3 categories up. So let's talk about Soundstage and Imaging. All right, so I'm trying to tighten these up a bit just so I don't babble on for long periods of time. All right, so we're going to condense it a bit. Soundstage and Imaging. All right, with the exception of the ELAC Debut B5.2, this speaker soundstages and images better than any other speaker in its price category. Adele, I almost said Adele by Hello. Hello by Adele was above the speakers, which indicates great vertical imaging and great vertical off-axis performance. Wherever I May Roam by Metallica at the 14-second mark came way to the right. And Killing Strangers by Marilyn Manson will wrap all the way around you if you have a pretty symmetrical room. Okay, center image is great. The chain, Fleetwood Mac, dead center, whatever her name is. I can't remember what her name is. And the bass drum was right in the middle. So these things, one of the standout things about the Jamo S803 is their ability to soundstage and image without having any crazy toe in. They have keyhole mounts on the back. So guess what? Somebody thought maybe they should be facing right out into the room. And guess what? It doesn't really affect their soundstage and imaging that much. You can get it way better too if you just toe them in a bit. All right. Let's talk about bass. Bass is punchy. All right, probably around about the 80 hertz region. It's a little bit bumped up in there, so things like Highway to Hell, the bass drum is a little bit thicker than it would be on a neutral speaker, but that's fine, and most people are going to prefer that. While the bass is punchy, it doesn't necessarily have the best roll-off in this price group. I would say even the Sony SSCS5 has better bass roll-off. The Fluence Reference has better bass roll-off. The ELAC Debut B5.2 has better bass roll-off. The 5.2, though, is usually not $199. It can come down to $199, okay? From a like texture and like tone perspective, the Sony and the ELAC probably do better, but it's not like I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I can't believe that it sounds this way. No. Bass on this speaker is just fine by me. It's bumped. Yeah, but it's bumped where most people want it bumped at. And the great thing about this speaker, though, is if you're doing it for 2-channel, you're not going to be like, oh my gosh, I need to run out and get a subwoofer like some other speakers in this price group. It's fine. It's good. And quite frankly, if you get it right up against the wall, you do get a bit of that. You get the lower frequency roll-offs. You get some gain in there. So the in-room response is going to be much deeper than if you just had it like in the middle of a field on a 20-foot ladder. All right. So the bass on this speaker, to me, and I think to most people, is going to be very pleasing and very good. And if you really want those low frequencies, just add a sub. But again, if you're listening to 2-channel, it's going to be great because there is some presence there, and that presence is there at low volumes as well as at high volumes. All right. Let's talk about mid-range. Mid-range on this speaker is a bit recessed. So voices can seem stepped back. Kurt Cobain on the entire album, MTV Unplugged, but Dumb, he's a little bit stepped back. The good thing about it is, though, you're not like sacrificing detail. It's not all veiled up or anything like that. It's just a bit stepped back. I would argue with step back speakers or speakers that aren't too forward, when you listen to those speakers and only those speakers for a longer period of time, those voices have a tendency to come back forward just because your brain's getting used to it and your brain's going to kind of put together that soundstage how it wants to be. All right? All right, acoustic guitars kind of suffer from the same thing. The entire MTV Unplugged Alice in Chains record, just step back a bit. This is not a neutral speaker. All right? It's a bit of a U-curve speaker. So just keep that in mind. Shoot to Thrill by AC/DC. It came in, it was clear, and it had body. It just felt step back a little bit. Not saying it was all veiled and everything, but it was just step back, which makes sense because I think there's a bit of a dip in the mids. And that's fine. Most people aren't going to mind it. Most people. Unless you're like the super hardcore audiophile that really wants just a pancake flat frequency response. And that's tough to come by in this price category. I'd say the Fluence Reference get you there, but that's not going to be the speaker for everybody either. Okay? Just like this isn't the speaker for everybody. All right. Let's talk about treble. Treble, I feel, is a standout on this speaker. With a soft dome tweeter, sometimes speakers can sound a little bit not lively, not alive, maybe even a bit boring, a bit rolled off. This soft dome, I think, is great. There's clarity, and there's still a little bit of body in the treble as well, so it's not just like so Centerman, the 16th notes. Sorry. Centerman by Nina Simone was great. The hi-hat on it was great. Africa by Weezer, the cymbal decay was quite outstanding for a speaker in this price range. I think the integration with the tweeter to the mid bass or bass driver, very well done. Very well done. It's great. It's great. Great detail without being fatiguing. That's another thing. I turn these way up. No fatigue. No fatigue. What are my final thoughts? The final thoughts are, I actually printed stuff off today, so I'm not just sketching notes down on a envelope from a bill collector. Just kidding. Usually I just write them on the letter from the bill collector. Again, kidding. That's a joke. All right, this speaker is head and shoulders, in my opinion, above anything that Klipsch makes in this price range, which is not much because the R series is all over the place, like the R51M, which is the closest thing Klipsch can come to with this speaker. Good news is this is Klipsch's little brother. They're owned by the Klipsch Group, which is owned by Vox. So I would say in this situation here, Jamo is beating up their big brother, or even beating up their big stepbrother, because this speaker is far and away better than the Klipsch R51M while being cheaper and not having crazy price swings all over the place. All right. Again, with the bass presence, you're not going to feel like you need a subwoofer if you're using this for 2-channel. All right. Is this the most refined? Well, it is pretty refined. Is this the most flat frequency response? No, it's a U-shaped. It's an exciting speaker, and I would argue that for most people just getting into hi-fi, they hook this speaker up to an AV receiver, you're going to be thrilled because you're going to hear things that you haven't heard in the music before, and you're going to have an immersive experience that you haven't had before because this thing soundstages and images so well. Fun speaker, boosted bass, recessed mids, but that's fine. Tweeter gave me all the detail I wanted. If you want an ultra flat frequency response, look to the Fluence reference, okay? But that speaker is not going to be for everybody. Somebody that's just getting into hi-fi is probably not going to prefer that speaker, okay? And that speaker doesn't have very good bass presence. The ELAC debut B5.2 is probably better in most categories for audiophiles, people that want that frequency response. But for someone just getting into the hobby, I think this speaker may even be preferable over the B5.2. I personally like the B5.2 better than this, but I think this is going to be the better speaker for most people just getting into the hobby, if that makes sense. Okay? And this one, again, is usually $20 cheaper. Street price for this is $180. Sometimes it can go all the way down to like $130. All right? If you don't mind the U-shape on this speaker from a frequency response, you're getting a lot with it. You get Atmos integration, you get wall mounting, you get a bunch of different colors to choose from. You can get away with this in 2-channel listening. Great. High recommendation. Probably the highest recommendation that I can give a speaker under 200. All right. If you know what you're getting yourself into. If you like that U-shape, V-shape, U-shape. I don't think it's V-shaped. I don't think the mids are that far recessed. If you want that, if you're just getting into the hobby, this is a great option. And I would argue superior in every way to the Klipsch R series. You can get this entire 5-channel system right now on Amazon. You get 2 of the S803s, you get 2 of the S801s, and you get the center channel for $230, which is cheaper than one pair of R51Ms from Klipsch which don't sound as good. All right? Heck, the S801s probably have better bass response and presence than the Klipsch R51M. Yeah, and they're front ported. 801's not front ported, but the 803s are front ported. All right? So if you want to support the channel, my patreon.com/cheapaudioman link is in the description. We have Zoom meetings every Sunday night. Had a great one. Most people ever on a Zoom meeting. You can use any of the links in the description. If you use them to buy a product, I get a small commission fee off of that. Or you can sign up for Amazon Music HD for free. Actually, Amazon Unlimited. Click on the link, scroll down to the bottom, click Try HD. You get 3 months for free. I get a couple of dollars. I have 2 playlists in there in the description. My test track playlist, so you can listen to what I listen for on the songs and tell me I'm wrong, I'm an idiot. And the Satanic Panic playlist is also in the description. Okay? So, don't binge watch Netflix or Hulu or anything like that. Binge listen to your favorite streaming service or record or CD or whatever, and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.